some disagreements on the removal spells.
Well, Dan has Underworld Connections for card draw to be able to give him the ability to get some things in there.
He also has 2 Garrick Relentless.
They both have Keswick Wolfrun in there. James has 2 where Dan has 1. Yeah, the major differences, obviously, we talked about a little bit there, was
Dan has Underworld Connections, Garrick Relentless.
Yes.
And James has a couple extra creatures. He has some Thundermaw Hellkites in his main, and he has 3 copies of Rakdos Return. Oh, I guess Dan also has 2, but
yeah.
He's got a couple extra removal spells.
Well, that Thundermaw could make the difference. Okay, Dan Musser plays Blood Crypt, does not pay the 2 life. James comes back, does not pay the 2 life for his land. Okay, that would...
Ooh, that's gross. Mismatched pictures on your Blood Crypts. You're gonna have old land art. You gotta have old art.
Well, we see a Dreadbore in his hand. That looks like a Keswick Wolfrun. And Rootbound Crag.
Looks like Rakdos Keyrune. Each player sporting 3 copies of the best Keyrune.
Yeah, you talked about that. And the thing about it is because of their removal, the only thing that could really take care of that is the Searing Spear.
James has 2 Searing Spears and 1 Abrupt Decay.
Oh, 1 Abrupt Decay, yeah.
However, it's going to be more about the other creatures like that one. An Unanswered Olivia Voldaren. One of the things you might consider doing, not knowing the list, is waiting till you can ping twice to get him out of Mizium Mortar's range.
Okay, Thragtusk from Dan gets him up to 25. James Huntmaster here. Oh, Rakdos. Rakdos return for 2.
Alright, so Rakdos Return is definitely the type of card that ensures that the match doesn't drag on forever.
Dreadbore and
Farseek.
Okay.
Dan being nice to the camera and bringing his cards back into play. That being said, looks like Dan has a Mountain and a Mountain and a Dreadbore in his hand. Nonetheless, he can attack for 8. So James is going to have to get on the board, on the Thragtusk board, so to speak. But he may first just want to get these... nope, out for the Thragtusk. Saying he may just wanted to get in on the Rakdos Return, make sure that the way is clear.
Okay, he does have Keswick Wolfrun over there to help him go forward here.
Quite a powerful card, but however, both life totals are going to stay very high because of Thragtusk.
I like the fact he's using the Keyrune aggressively now. He's actually pushing forward with that card to use it for what it does with the first strike ability.
Yeah. Dan drew a copy of Mizium Mortars. If he is so inclined, he can use both of his removal spells on the Thragtusk and get an 8. Yeah, he can get an 8 damage. I'm not sure that's his optimal play. However, that would leave him very open to anything. The only way he makes his play is if oh, it's a 7 of the Bloodline. And I missed a card then.
Okay,
I thought he had Mizium Mortars, Dreadbore, and a land, but I believe he just has 3 removal spells. So Thragtusk trading as Thragtusks are wont to do.
Okay, that'll give them both tokens. One gets Pikachu, and
nope, and gets shut down by the table judge.
Hey now, come on. For those of you at home that are under the age of 10, Pikachu. Very well known.
I'm only under the age of 25.
Okay, under 25. Mizium Mortars, give it a token.
I don't classify it, and Pokemon was after my time.
Okay. All right. Now he's up to 5 lands. Looks like he has
a couple extra lands, a Thundermaw Hellkite, a Rakdos Return.
So Thundermaw Hellkite.
I believe the Rakdos Return would be the play over Thundermaw Hellkite.
Because that would strip his hand of everything. And he does it now for 4.
Yeah, 4 if you wanted to spend all of his mana, and I believe he doesn't have anything else to spend his mana on. I believe he has a Pillar of Flame.
Okay, there it is.
All right, see you.
Dreadbore, Sever the Bloodline. Now that opens up next turn Thundermaw Hellkite to come in unmolested from anything removal in his hand. Dan probably will
This
swing.
is where this Kessig Wolf run is a huge deal.
Yeah.
In this game.
You can see he's lining. Well, no, he's going to put another.
He's got a Key Rune into play and an attack for 6. Drops James to 8 life. And these Key Runes are actually going to be very, very powerful. They're like random pieces of acceleration. They let Dan cast a turn 4 Thragtusk, but after the Thragtusk is gone, his Beast Remnant and his Mana Accelerant is all he has left, and they're still getting the job done.
Yeah, he's got Thundermaw Hellcat to play, but the problem is if he doesn't have anything back, Dan swings in for lethal on the back of both of those Key Ruins and the wonderful 3/3 Beast token. A Thragtusk here would have been very helpful for James to at least somewhat stabilize his life total.
Olivia would be fantastic.
Yeah, because he could
Not
play
unbeatable.
play it and shoot.
But it looks like a defensive Thundermaw Hellkite is the play from James.
But like you said, typically you don't want Thundermaw Hellkite in a position to be defensive. Okay, so it looks like he's going to swing with both the Key Runs and the Beast.
He could just swing with only the Beast, activate his Kessig Wolf run for 5. Might even be able to get a Key Rune attack in there as well. So activate the Key Rune, just 1. And then attack with the Key Rune and the Beast.
That's what he's doing.
And then if the Thundermaw Hellkite blocks, you Wolf Run the appropriate card for 2.
Well, you'd think he's going to block the Beast with it, because if he blocks it, he can get that Thundermaw, he can get that Key Rune to kill that. So he will take 3.
Falls to 5, and that definitely leaves a lethal Key Rune attack.
I think he's land, and
Pillar of Flame.
Pillar of Flame. That's not. Well, wait, no, maybe that's not land. Yep, he's just scoops.
He's gonna scoop, not gonna even make him do it. So Dan takes game 1.
Okay, on the back of the Key Runs.
And we go to sideboard where Dan had, and the thing is, James had his Key Runes, he just didn't draw them.
Nope. Okay, James in his sideboard has 4 Duress, 2 Deadweights, 2 Slaughter Games, 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Vraska, I'm sorry, 2 Staff of Nim, and 1 Sever the Bloodline.
So where James has Duress, Dan actually has the much superior card for the majority of matchup, Appetite of Brains.
Yes.
Appetite for Brains.
Yes.
So big fan of the Brains, as see Dan on the left there. He's working up his appetite.
If it comes and it hits, it's going to hit every creature he has available, because every one of them costs 4 or more.
It also gets the relatively important Sever the Bloodline. And then for bonus, you don't even try and get this, but James also has Staff of Nin as his additional card drawing spell.
Yep.
So it gets that. So that's going to be a huge for Dan. Appetite's a huge card. Outside of that, not much. Garrick, Primal Hunter, can be reasonable, but not fantastic, because there are Dreadbores.
Yeah.
The thing, on that I don't really see.
I like the Appetite for Brains. I think you should bring those in.
Yeah, absolutely. And both players will be cutting their Pillar of Flames. Cards doesn't really do much.
No, but that does leave one more slot open. Maybe the Garruk, you said?
Yeah, I like the Garruk.
Okay, so if he takes out 4 Pillar of Flames, goes with 3 Appetite for Brains, 1 Garruk. We still have James with 4 slots available here. Golgari.
He's going to bring in his Staff of Nins.
Staff of Nins, okay, it's
Sever
2
the
of them.
Bloodline, but that only leaves him. He also needs to side out his Abrupt Decay. The only thing Abrupt Decay really gets is the Key Rune.
Yeah, but that Key Rune, I know, but it's
and he doesn't know it yet, but Dan could have Underworld Connections, And he does.
Yes, he does.
So he might leave that in, but it's probably one of his weaker cards.
Okay, so he goes 1 Sever, 2 Stephanin, and
I could see like
Water Game, maybe?
Yeah, that's like pretty poor in the mirror.
Yeah.
Dress also fairly poor, although it has a lot of quote unquote hits. It's often not the cards that matter all the time, but I might bring it if I'm James because it's a very poor top deck.
All right.
That's the primary reason you don't want them, but since Appetite hits the good cards and Duress hits the bad cards.
All right, well, James will be on the play here. Game 2, for those of you just joining us, this is Robert Martin and Adam Prozac. We are live at SCG Indianapolis, joined on the sideboard by Glenn Jones. And James is going to draw a 7 here. It looks like he has...
two lands, a Mizium Mortars, and 4 big creatures, I believe.
That doesn't look like a good...
It looks like he's good.
He's going to keep it and try to hit the Mizium Mortars to slow him down and hope to draw lands?
Searing Spear, not Mizium Mortars.
Oh, Searing Spear. Okay.
Apologize.
Okay.
It's same card.
Yeah.
Against land 1.
Okay. Oh, he drew another land. All right, so he'll be up to 3. Okay. There we go. Appetite for Brains, and he will have plenty of options to choose from.
That is the checklist card is a Huntmaster of the Fells. Dan is the one with Garrick.
Okay. So, if you're Dan, which one?
You probably just take the Thragtusk. It has 3 lands, depending on Dan's hand. Unless Dan's hand is particularly aggressive and immune to Searing Spear, you can take the Huntmaster. Hope James doesn't hit 5, but James is likely to hit 5. So I would probably just take a Thragtusk.
Okay, he's going to take the Huntmaster.
Yeah. Dan's gonna. I mean, Huntmaster is a very easy card to deal with.
I think he had Sever the Bloodline in his hand also.
Okay. So yeah, if you're willing to wait for your opponent to cast multiple Thragtusk so you can get them both.
Okay. Both of them choose not to play their...
Dan with his mismatched Blood Crypts once again. Looks like James has one of his lands, at least.
Okay, so that
looks like both of them actually. He's drawn 2 Woodland Cemeteries in his last 2 draws.
All right. So Dan is up to 4 lands here. Does pass his turn. Okay, well, James has managed to hit 5. So here comes the Thragtusk. Take James up to 25 life.
This will be interesting. Okay. Oh, he's not quite there. You can't play the Olivia yet because James has a Searing Spear in his hand. So he needs to be able to play the Olivia and ping something right away without James being able to respond.
Which he should be able to next turn because James will probably tap out to play a second Thragtusk on the board. And that will put him in a position to do that. I mean, he'll have 1 land left over because of his thing, but he should probably tap down to 1 land only.
Yeah. Instead, Dan's going to play nothing. He's going to play nothing this turn, which could get him in trouble, given that he's going to try and get value from a Sever the Bloodline and get both Thragtusks.
Yes. Okay, here we go. 5, or maybe not. See, now if you're James and you would have a Thundermaw Hellkite here, that would be the optimal situation, because now you'd have Thragtusk and Thundermaw, and which one is he going to choose to kill? All right, so he goes with the second Thragtusk to go up to 30, sets him up for Sever the Bloodline.
That's a pretty good draw of Mizium Mortars. That can take care of some of the beasts. But you definitely want to Sever the Bloodline here, and then I would probably cast Mizium Mortars on one of them just to preserve life total. But I could see an argument for waiting and wanting to overload the Mortars as well.
That would take Dan down to 5. Another swing.
9.
Or 9, sorry.
Beasts.
Yeah, 9. Okay, he does have a Dreadbore in hand also.
I was going to overload the Mizium mortars. Alright. So he's decided that he really wants value. Big fan of value.
Okay.
And he's going to wait on his Sever. And get the beasts with them.
In for 6.
That way, if James would have played another card, say like a Huntmaster or an Olivia,
yeah,
Dan could sever the tokens this turn and Dreadbore whatever creature.
Okay, Dan has Forest, Farseek, Sever the Bloodline, Dreadbore, and I can't, Olivia. Okay.
Farseek will drop him with 3 cards in hand.
Yeah, they're...
Yeah, Dan should get a Blood Crypt here, if only because you want as much red mana as possible. You want to make sure at least half of your lands make red, but he chose to even out. He might want 4 sources of green.
Okay, in comes the Rakdos Ruin from James.
Yeah, that's actually quite potent for James, just like it was in game 1 for Dan. 2 hits from that, and James has a Searing Spear to finish things off. So.
Alright, that could be...
The thing is, Dan knows of the existence of Searing Spear, at least because of an earlier appetite for brains.
Well, it looks like he has 2 Olivias in his hand.
Yeah, that's pretty bad for him, because that's the first one. If he plays one, it's going to eat a Searing Spear, but he doesn't really have another choice. Kind of has to play Olivia.
Okay, in comes Keswick Wolfrun with no creatures to play it with. Taps 4. And there's Olivia on the board, which should be, like you said, met by a Searing Spear.
The other thing, it could be met by a Mortars if James wants to save the Spear for potential to go directly to Dan, if he can burn him out.
Okay, he does have a Sever the Bloodline in his hand also.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of other ways to kill Olivia. Nonetheless, he's going to use the one that gets it dead the fastest, and it gets Searing Spear. I actually like saving the Searing Spear for one potential key runes. Oh, okay. So James just went for the preemptive burn strike.
Okay. I will take him down to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Conscripts. And that should do it.
He could Dreadbore.
Dreadbore is a sorcery.
Oh, that's true, he can't. Yeah, that would be 6. And we would be off to game 3.
We will.
Yeah, Olivia.
He is a mana short of being able to deal 3 damage to the conscripts, but yeah.
Okay, we are now off to game 3. James Arnold coming back to tie the match at 1 apiece. Plenty of time left in the round. As you can see, Dan did bring in the Appetite for Brains. I did not see if, I don't know, he may have brought in another Sever for James, but we didn't see anything else.
Too much in the way, yeah. I actually think the game for Dan came down to him not taking he took a Huntmaster with the Appetite for Brains, hoped James wouldn't draw lands, James drew lands, had an extra Thragtusk that got a little extra damage and was really difficult to deal with, and that was the difference. Dan had plenty of removal for all of James' threats, but just wanted to get extra value on him and ended up paying for it with his 20 life points.
Okay, so it's interesting. Like you said, the Jund mid-range deck, which both these are, they're basically the same shell with a different 10 or so different cards between them. It's fun when you can have a deck like Jund and it not have to be the same 75. Because so many times we've gotten stuck in formats where it's 70 out of 75 are identical. And at least this is
definitely the case early on in a format. If any of the decks that currently exist, I feel like Jund is actually the most set in stone. You have to play the same creature base more or less. Thragtusk, Huntmaster, Olivia, you'll see in every Jund deck. You'll see Pillar Flame, Farseek. You should see Key Runes in everyone's, and you should see a boatload of removal spells. You get some. This is where you're like 70, the 5-card selection, where you get to pick which removal spells you want, but none of them are any. Like, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's if you draw the one that you know whatever opponent you have to play against that round. If your removal spell kills their card often enough, then you'll do well. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes it's almost like style points in that one. Oh, I have this one in there instead of going, I have 4 Sever the Bloodline. No, I only have 2, and I brought in Abrupt Decay. It's what makes it a lot of fun. But if you're a fan of Thragtusk, which we're getting some people here starting realizing this is purely a Thragtusk format, when you order your next order from SCG, you get free tokens.
Man, you could get lucky. You get 2 random tokens. Could even get a beast.
Yes, you might be able to get a beast. I saw the angels.
Yep.
I've seen the angels. So.
I believe the spirits are now being put in. You could get angel, spirits, wolves, vampire sworn tokens, I believe.
I want beast tokens.
I've not seen all of them.
I want beast tokens.
I believe that we need beast tokens.
Yes, we do.
If people are going to order Thragtusk, you need to be able to win the beast lottery.
Okay, it looks like James kept his
Vraska.
Brought it in.
Yeah.
Brought it in. Now, interesting in the mirror he'd bring that in, but okay. Here we go.
I love Brains. That's a very early use of Appetite for Brains.
And it's going to hit. And
it's definitely
Olivia.
Gonna hit. Olivia or Vraska are his targets. He's got 4 lands, so 5 total lands in play plus his hand, and a Dreadbore.
I don't know about you, but I'd go Olivia. Just because of the way Dan's hand is.
Unless Dan has like a Dreadbore or Mizzium Mortars of his own. If Dan has an answer to Olivia in his hand, then he can go ahead and take the Vraska.
And he's thinking about it right now because he pulled them both out. I don't see Dreadbore in his... wait, no, that might be Dreadbore in his hand. The second card over. It looks like he's got 2, 3 more lands in his hand. So you go with the Vraska here, and then
he does have a Dreadbore. He also has a Huntmaster. I would go with the Vraska. You can... looks like Dan was just asking for something. It goes with the Olivia anyway.
Okay.
Vraska, while not super good, it does represent some amount of value. So when you do, like, if you Dreadbore a Vraska, that has already killed your guy, you're giving up value.
Okay, both choosing not to pay the life for the lands.
Alright, so Dan draws probably the best card for this type of game, Underworld Connections.
Yeah, getting card advantage is in this case is very, very critical. There's the Thundermaw Hillkite. Okay.
And that's going to punish Dan for his use of the Underworld Connections.
Okay, there's the Huntmaster, which he will play this turn.
Likely, yeah. The Huntmaster. One thing I don't like about playing the Underworld Connections, if you left the Vraska in James' hand, He's likely to go Vraska -2, kill your underworld connections, and then you lose your card advantage engine.
Yes, but Dan also, I mean, I've always said this before, there could be a possibility Dan could be trying to bait him to do that. Maybe get rid of that underworld connections and not worry about something else that may come out that maybe, I don't know, he could be thinking I may be able to get a few turns in with it before it comes that situation.
Yeah, he'll get one turn in, but, I mean, the other thing is, there's nothing really else to bait.
Okay.
Underworld Connection is probably the best card to Vraska.
Okay. All right. So
that being said, if he does do that, the Wolf will finish off the Vraska for free. So Dan might get he'll get one activation. And it looks like he has a second Huntmaster, which is actually a pretty good play for him.
But he does not have a land.
So he has to decide if he wants to draw a card with his connections, or just go ahead and play a Huntmaster.
So he chooses to play it safe, gain 2 more life to 24, and has a Huntmaster and 2 Wolf tokens out there.
I believe that's a Mizzium Mortars.
So James is not short on land at all. He has the ability to go to 6 in the next 2 turns with mana. All right. Brass. Nope. Thundermaw Hellkite. And he will swing with it. Take Dan down to 19.
Alright, so if I'm Dan, you basically are locked into drawing a card with Underworld Connections and Dreadboring the Thundermaw Hellkite.
Okay, it looks like he has a Keswick Wolf from there. Now, at least he would have gotten some value out of the Thundermaw because of hitting for 5 at least with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons Thundermaw Hellkite's pretty strong, is seeing like quite a surge in play. Just the number of cards that interact with Thundermaw Hellkite at instant speed, very small.
Okay.
You're taking that 5, and then it's still like a 1-for-1. And this is the type of format where 5 mana to spend on a creature and 5, spend on a creature is completely normal.
Okay, so Dan swings in for 6. Dreadbores the Thundermaw Hellkite, like Adam said was going to happen here. Takes James down to 12. He does have the Mizzium Mortars in his hand. I think he drew a second Vraska, if I'm not correct.
Okay, does he have 3 red sources?
Yes, he does, from the Blood Crypts.
Yeah, Blood Crypt. And
he's got it. And there it is.
Okay, there's 3 Blood Crypts. Or 2 Blood Crypts and a Dragon's Skull Summit.
So hits again.
Maybe just 3 Blood Crypts.
But again, we're seeing those play at its highest level. When everybody thinks Mizzium Mortars is only going to hit, the 1 in a red, everybody's playing it for its expected cost of max cost on it, which is, Cyclonic Rift, we saw doing that multiple times. I don't know. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe we overestimated how well that could be.
Yeah, it's a stable bonfire.
Yeah.
Basically. It's a bonfire that you don't mind drawing in your opening hand, which I love miracling bonfires.
Me too.
Who doesn't? Obviously that's a powerful ability, but I'm willing to take a little bit off that power just for the ability to play it if I draw it, or play it whenever I want. That's a really important thing. It's not just like, oh, if it's not my opening hand, I'll get to miracle it. No, there are really like awkward turns to draw it in the game as well. So
you see that a lot of times with Terminus.
Oh yeah.
You could draw Terminus like turn 2, and I'm like.
I mean, we saw earlier on camera people. Someone had played Lingering Souls for just 2 tokens, and the opponent miracles a Terminus.
Got rid of it, but I mean, it didn't do much. Dan with a Thragtusk, taking his life back up to 22.
22 with an Underworld Connections in play. I like his spot.
Well, he's gonna draw that card at the end of probably his opponent's turn.
He's already drawn the card.
Oh, he did already. Okay.
Yeah, the mountain's tapped.
Oh yeah.
So we could either see Vraska or something else. Looks like Vraska. That's the front card in his hand, so more likely to play the card he's looking at the most. Tapping the table, pretending like he's doing math.
But like you said, Vraska is a very expensive answer. Okay.
All right, Staff a win. Feels like he has time.
At 12 with a staring down a Thragtusk. Okay. So Dan will swing in for another 5 to take James down to 7.
Even then, he's really staring down the Kessig Wolfrun field attack. And he needs to draw something in addition because
Do you want him to pump it up, or should he play the Huntmaster I saw in his hand?
Definitely play the Huntmaster.
Okay.
There's no card, there's no big card that James can play to make the attack not lethal.
Yeah.
Whereas if your opponent to make there's basically no card in James's deck that would make Dan playing the Huntmaster a worse play than pumping.
Okay, he does have a Garruk in his hand.
You could also play that.
Okay. So Dan swings in, like I said, takes James down to 7.
Not a huge fan of the Garruk, if only because the Staff of Nin would whittle it down. But it looks like that's what we're going to get, because we see a Key Rune as well. I guess both Huntmaster and Garrett cost 4.
Yes, they do. 3 and a green and 2 red and a green for the Huntmaster. He's making a decision here. Okay, he's going to go with your thought. He's going to go with the Garruk. All right, there we go. Takes it up to 3, gets to put a little wolf out there.
So, Dan looking in a fairly dominating position. He has everything you'd want. Interesting that James did not shoot the Garruk with the Staff of Nin.
Okay, he did draw a Zealous Conscripts.
Zealous Conscripts would allow James to steal the wolf.
Thragtusks. Swing
he
it.
could steal the Thragtusk. The Thragtusk could attack Garruk. And then the conscripts would stay back on defense. And the best case scenario for James would be is if Dan made a mistake and blocked the Thragtusk with his wolf, because then the Staff of Dan would ping the Thragtusk, and James would get to keep the beast.
We'll see what happens here. Yeah, he's definitely looking like he wants to play it.
Seems like his card looks like he gets to kill the Garruk, but also take a ton in the process, and it's actually lethal. So James may not have a play that prevents him from taking lethal.
Okay, there it is. Oh, targeting.
So he's going to steal the Garruk.
Plunk the Thragtusk.
It's going to make a beast, basically.
Oh,
he could fight the Thragtusk. It's the other thing you can do with it. Fighting the Thragtusk will turn the Thragtusk into a beast.
Yep.
That still makes the attack lethal, unless James has another spell. Should be waiting on a beast, yeah.
Because he does have the Rakdos Ruin there sitting on the sidelines also. It's going to
Alright, so he's going to tap out, and if Dan sees his attack with both creatures and then pump the wolf, or pump the unblocked creature with Kessig Wolfrun, this match is over.
And he can also still, for the heck of it, before the end of his turn, draw the one from the Underworld Connections.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. He's at 21. It's not like going to 20 is going to kill him.
Especially when his opponent's dead.
Yeah.
So it looks like Dan's going to advance to 6-0.
Oh, there's the shake.
Dan just saying, I'm going to activate my Key Rune. Okay. And yeah, Dan advances.